It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Kyle.
And I'm glad you brought this up because finally time I made an admission to you.
Okay. Is this something? Do we need like a drum roll or something? Because we don't have one.
We don't have the tech. I'm pretty sure I booed when you chose that.
And Steve.
Delightful modern invention that could possibly revolutionize the Apple industry. Thank you so much for joining us, Apples to Apples. Good day and good morrow.
What does that mean?
Live on tape from APS 3 point whatever, it's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
What the hell was even that? Good day and good morrow? Was that the...
That's right. Little throwback to Edward R. Murrow, which everybody knows. Famed newsman. We had to, by the way, and really quick digression. We had a little off podcast get together a week ago or so.
We did, yeah. We went out and should we tell them?
Here comes soda pops.
I think we actually said this exact same thing last week.
Did we?
I think so. It doesn't matter. We say it every time we were
imbibing in a few adult beverages. Good old big girl and big boy sodies.
I had a drink in front of me. It might have had a little alcoholic content.
As we've said before, stop.
Yeah, we're not talking about how we did heroin together.
Yeah,
like
right. We're not breaking any law.
No, we're both in our, well, for you, late 20s.
Yep.
Me, very early 30s.
And
we're allowed to drink alcohol.
It's
allowed.
The old hens came along, Steve.
Cluck, cluck,
and
cluck.
if I remember it, I believe it was Katie that we had to correct because she kept pronouncing something like a real invalid. Like, we had to explain to her that it's not the postmaster. It's not the postmaster general. Because you sound like you're from the middle of rural nowhere.
Remember when you said, we just played it in that intro, when I picked Annette, you booed.
Yeah.
When Katie said, postmaster. I wanted to call a friend of mine who deals in divorce lawyership.
Yeah, just to get a heads up or head start.
Pass the number off to you.
Yeah.
Lawyership? Yeah.
It's
lawyering.
Newsman? Postmaster?
Jokesman?
Not jokes man.
No.
Jokes man? Sound like a hippie from California. I have already forgotten. I believe I'll be able to pull this really quickly, Steve. Last week when we were closing up here, we had a scheduled A-bit.
Did we?
This week. And if I remember right...
let's see. I'm looking up at the next week.
I believe I wanted to get an update on the Comanche project.
Oh, that's right. I see it right now on our coming up next week, Steve's ironclad Comanche plan.
Okay, and I know nothing about this.
Yeah, you haven't asked in a while.
And I'd like to give the audience, who some of them seem to care, and it also gives me a break from having to do anything for a few minutes.
So you can leave.
Yeah.
Hey, go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I go run some stuff on the Cricut. I've got some design ideas.
Yeah, pay some bills.
Yep, go upstairs, see the dogs, and handle some business here on a very important Saturday morning. And let you really update the Jeep heads. Is that what you guys call yourself? What are the group of Jeep fans called? The Jeepites? The Jeep heads?
Jeep heads? Jeep heads, yeah.
You think Jeep... Is Jeep heads better or is Jeepites better? Jeepians. I'll put them all on the poll.
Okay.
Jeep heads, Jeepites, and Jeepians. Jeepians feels...
It feels like a slur.
It feels like I'm borderline slurring against somebody. Yeah. I don't know if I love Jeepians. I'm going to put it on there, though.
Okay.
Because that's what we do here. We test the boundaries. We really... You and I push push what's the norm for jokes.
Right.
So the Jeep Comanche, We talked to
88 Jeep Comanche Pioneer 2-wheel drive,
Oh, no.
4-liter, 5-speed. It's got the BA 510 trans.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What's it sound like?
The way you just spoke.
Yeah.
Sounds like when you try to sell stuff on this podcast.
Look.
So has the time come?
As you know, I am the show salesman.
Yes, of course.
Not a salesman.
Well, that's what you're doing. I mean, listen.
I'm a salesman.
That group of, oh my gosh, by the way, I refuse to let this podcast go by without addressing what supposedly had happened on the monkey flinging feces show this past week.
What did happen?
I received a couple of tweets saying that I was targeted, and if there's one thing I don't like, it's being the center of attention.
Where are you targeted?
So I'm going to need some answers. I'll have to pull up the tweets. It was Monday or Tuesday, and it was in the 9 a.m. hour.
Oh wow!
Where I was told,
so this is specific.
Well, yeah, because when I check, if I'm mentioned in a tweet, my phone blows up and I get a siren in my house because hey, somebody's acknowledging me. But again, thing I hate the most.
Katie, get the kids.
Thing I hate the
We're
most.
We're moving to Hollywood. Someone mentioned me.
But again, the thing I hate the most.
Okay.
Center of attention.
Right. Yeah. Most people who do things like this for a living or for a hobby.
I'm here for myself.
Or for a mountain of debt.
Yeah.
In our case.
I am here for self-satisfaction. I don't even care if this thing is released weekly. You know, just a couple of buds.
It's not, by the way. 309 episodes, and I felt like I've never had to say anything because you didn't directly ask me if I published the podcast the last week. But now that you have, I cannot tell a lie.
You've got a series of burner accounts that you interact with the show.
Yeah,
occasionally. Let me.
I am Trevor from Nashville.
Dixon or Burns.
Yeah, and I'm Betsy Boo. I'm Leanne.
I'm trying to scroll back to the last notifications, but again, a lot of polls this week in terms of, well, not polls, but poll badness is taking place right now. So scrolling past all the votes to see exactly when this started coming about. But yeah, it was definitely this week. So we'll have to get to that. But last week we mentioned the Comanche briefly.
Yeah. And
I believe we're approaching
88 Jeep Comanche Pioneer. That's a 2-wheel drive.
This is
2-wheel drive version. Came in firecracker red, 4-liter engine. That's a straight 6. The Renix before they introduced the HO, which I believe came in early to mid 90s. You still over there?
Yeah, I am
bench seat. Beautiful.
I am currently
just a throwback to when America was really great.
I'm currently a little bit nervous.
What are you nervous about?
Because Steve, this has been a passion project for you. Did we figure out 2.5 years now? Have you had it, or
it'll be 2 years. I got it like Labor Day weekend of 20.
Okay,
so we're a year and a half. We're a year and a half in,
and I feel like I said, I've only heard this tone of voice when you're trying to give away
88 Jeep Comanche. It's the short bed too. The highly
is that elusive?
Highly sought after short bed. Nobody wants a long bed 2-wheel drive.
Why would you? You just sound like an idiot even saying it. Mm-hmm. I've only heard this tone of voice when you've been trying to give away rotted boards mixed with a cement base.
You need to amend that and say when I successfully gave away.
Listen, I don't mean to take anything away from you.
I demand the respect.
You successfully gave away rotted plywood with nails in it.
With rusty nails that was the floor to the shed that was here in the junkyard that is our backyard.
As a condition of taking this 50-pound cement cylinder that was meant to hold a bird bath, which you couldn't find until a year or two later.
Yeah, just recently. Like, I think back in the fall, we actually unearthed
the actual bird bath.
The bird bath.
You think about reaching back out? Maybe saying, hey, I found the other half?
I mean, I do keep communication with everybody I've ever dealt with.
Come by and I've got these door frames that you have to take with you.
Doors are gone, man. We currently have 0
Extra garbage?
like bulk garbage in this house.
Impressive.
I got a couple small rolls of carpet,
Yeah.
maybe like a foot, 2 feet wide and about 6 feet long. But I'm holding on to them, keeping them for when I'm working on the Comanche out in the garage.
Smart
Nice
to have.
to roll them out, lay on that instead of laying on the cold floor.
So the 88 Comanche.
88
Short bed.
It's the MJ.
I haven't seen it, and this should be said, I haven't seen it in months. Now, granted, it's the winter. Your doors aren't typically open.
Yeah.
When I'm here, I addressed on the podcast, the double driveway parking situation. You said you're not ready to talk about it yet.
Nope.
So I'm not bringing that up yet either.
Maybe one day. Maybe not.
So where are we at as Second Chance Jeeps thrives into its second full year?
Let's go ahead and pull up the Instagram.
Oh boy, now I'm
Check it out.
Now I'm less excited than I was before. Gotta make sure I don't follow that. I don't want that in my feed.
You really want to mess with me? Click follow, then unfollow, then follow.
So you get the
then
notification like, ooh, another one. Okay, so I'll go to the second most recent, 5 days ago.
Look at that, right?
Getting some work done. And it's a picture of, is it carpet?
That's not the Comanche. But it is.
That is, okay, it does say Jeep, but so it's your Jeep.
The
murder Jeep.
The murder Jeep, yeah.
So you
Call that the
swindled
JK.
your
call
followers.
that the JK or the JKU, I mean.
Or murder Jeep.
And MJ.
If you could actually start using that when you post about that.
Hashtag murder Jeep?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you swindled your followers into thinking you'd made some progress on the Comanche with the picture.
Second Chance Jeeps is not just all about the Comanche. Sure. It's about all things Jeep.
Okay.
All things Jeep.
That was 5 days ago. Mm-hmm. So that was third week in March.
By the way, do you see how clean that thing is?
Yeah, you're missing a seat?
2 seats.
Never stops over here, does it?
Jeeping never stops. Hashtag
what are you putting in? Just a wooden bench? Because that's the way it was back in the 70s.
No, it had gotten so bad that like my vehicle itself wasn't I'm not somebody who keeps a ton of stuff in my car or anything, but I just hadn't vacuumed it in ages, and transporting dogs back and forth to the dog sitter if we're away for a couple days, or taking Toby goes to a doggy daycare every now and then where he just gets a bunch of energy out. But yeah, you pick them up at the end of the day, they hop in the back, and it's just instant dog hair everywhere.
It doesn't matter. And you could vacuum it that night, and the next morning you'll find a clump more of it somewhere
because
on your clothes.
It all floated in the air,
right. And
then it settled. So I was like, all right, I need to vacuum this thing out really bad and like really, really clean up the interior because it was starting to bug me. And I started vacuuming it, but I have a big shop vac, and the hose was too big to like get into all the little crevices between the seats and the console, under the seats. So I was like, screw it. It's 4 bolts to take these seats out.
You did it.
Rip the seats out. It took me 3 days. 3 days of working on this thing. I mean,
not 3 days to get a vacuuming.
Days, but 3 days to get the interior completely clean. And it looks immaculate now. And now when I get in it, I'm like, okay, don't touch anything.
Yeah, Annette sits next to you. Stop it! Stop it! Hands in your pockets.
Don't put your feet on the floor mat.
I told you I would put your seatbelt on for you so you don't move your hands.
Like I actually dragged the pressure washer out of the shed.
Oh my gosh.
So I could pressure wash the floor mats.
I mean, like, we did have that spell of nice weather.
Oh, it was beautiful.
So you were okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't know that from today because you know what they say about Michigan weather, Steve. If you don't like it when it is now, just wait 10 minutes.
I mean, there was snow on the ground when you got here. It's probably going to be tropical and 85 when you leave. Hell.
So you had the 3-day vacuuming project. And by the way, these are all going on the poll because my theory is, does Steve's next Jeep have a wooden bench and ropes for seat belts? And is 3 days too long to vacuum a car?
Yeah.
Those will be on the poll as well. Nice little side project for you.
It is. I fully admit that 3 days is way too long.
Yeah.
But after looking at some of the prices locally to get an interior detail, like $250, $300.
Because I want that too.
Yeah. I just thought, it's... Because it has, I mean, air quotes, leather seats. I don't know. There's some kind of vinyl, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, so those are easy. You just spray some Armor All on a rag and wipe them down. So then at that point, I'm paying $250 for someone to just vacuum the carpet.
Yeah.
No, I think I can do better than that. So ripped the seats out, cleaned it out, and man, it's weird how it makes it seem like it's a brand new vehicle all over again. Now I'm like, hey, all right, it's like I got a new car. This is pretty nice. I like it.
It always has that, because it always has that smell of Armor All or those wipes too.
Yep.
And so for the first week or so, when you put your feet in there, you're making sure, like, you're almost taking your shoes off outside and clomping them together so you don't bring dirt or grass.
Every time I get out of the car, I'm taking the floor mat out and like shaking off the little pieces of dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because even the steering, my favorite part is how the steering wheel feels, because you always clean the steering wheel really good.
Yes.
What you never notice is dirty until you look at the rag after you've cleaned it with some kind of cleaning solution, and it's just like black.
Weird coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always, and then when you look at it from the outside or you're getting in, it's got that sheen to it after you clean it.
Yeah.
And
the
then
windshield, scrub the windshield so those little
the windshield's the worst.
like the little smudges that I've looked at every day for the last year and a half. Hey, it's finally gone. That's pretty great.
There's no worse part of your car to clean than the inside of the windows.
The best thing, that's one of the good things about the Jeep, is since it is, the windshield is about 18 inches tall and it's flat and it's directly in front of you. So it's just,
I feel like no matter what, you're leaving streaks, and you can't tell until it's night out. So
until there's a little precipitation and it fogs up.
You're like, oh great, this looks like garbage and I can't see.
Yeah.
You always do you got the wipe or maybe a cloth down on, you're doing your dash, so your knuckles are really scraping the windshield as you. Oh man, that feeling of a fully clean car. It's hard to beat.
It's real hard to beat.
Like you almost look for. I mean, you probably already look forward to getting in your car anyway because you're a Carman.
I am a Carman. Yeah, a Jeepman.
Yeah, and obviously, I didn't mean to give you too broad of a title there. And
I would say that in ranking days of my life, day that my daughter was born, 1. Day that I got married, 1A.
Okay, so
very
they're both
close.
there. Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah.
The first day driving a clean interior vehicle, 1AB. So not even 1B.
Yeah, no. It's like, it's nipping at the heels of, again, your wife for favorite days.
Yeah. I think that she's on board with that, too. She understands.
I feel like you're probably...
Speaking out of school?
I don't know. Maybe shoot her a text while we're communicating here and just say, are you offended?
Well, look, she's still in the lead.
Right. By an extra letter.
But if you turn around to look to see where the guy is behind you, you're face planting and getting past.
This is one of those things, too, where you can't reimagine that unless you renew your vows. But then, you've got kids and everything. So it's not like it'll never be like the original, right? The wedding day.
Right.
Yet you, a couple times a year, get to reimagine 1AB.
Yeah.
And then, so you get that refreshed memory. And you're like, maybe it was. Maybe this is better than the day I married my wife.
And that was a good day.
I don't know how that fact can jive
a little rainy
with staying married.
Yeah.
So that's kudos to you. Obviously
for walking the fine line.
Yeah, obviously she knows. Like you just said, she's totally kosher with the idea of your wedding day being in close competition to the first time you drove a fully cleaned car. Mm-hmm. Okay, so back to the Instagram. That was 5 days ago. Second Chance Jeeps. Getting some work done finally, so you're misleading all your followers. I don't think Manchi update's coming. 5 days ago, was that a Manchi Monday?
It was. Look, as we've talked about numerous times, every Monday is #Manchi Monday.
Yeah.
Just because I don't practice it every week doesn't mean I don't believe it in my heart.
You're still a Jeepsman. Jeepman or Jeepsman?
Well, I think in my case, since I have two different Jeeps,
you can be a Jeepsman.
I'm a Jeepsman.
Yeah. Oh,
you're
right. I think
if I get rid of one, then I may be downgraded to Jeepman. But I've also owned numerous ones, so
I think you hold that title almost like not postmortem because you're not dead, but
in absentia.
Yeah. So even if for some reason you were to sell one of your two Jeeps, I think I would still be comfortable. We'll update. We'll call you Jeepsman in absentia.
Oh yeah, that sounds
That's kind of nice, right? Like, you should sign your mortgage documents that way.
Can I get that on a business card?
Steve Kiernan, Jeepsman in absentia. I don't know how you and I, in all the stupid traps we've fallen down, haven't fallen down those ads for whatever print or whoever and get like 1,000 business cards with our names and stupid fake titles underneath.
Yeah, so we can just hand them out
to all the fans.
Go to like the local fair in the summer. Hey, need a Jeepsman? I'm one in absentia.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to word this poll of can you stay married if the first day you've driven a clean car is on par with your wedding day?
Is nipping at the heels of your wedding day. Yeah. She needs to know.
So that was 5 days ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked, so let me click the arrow to go to the most recent post on Second Chance Jeeps.
I don't even remember what it was.
Let me look. Oh boy, 2 days ago. There's a picture of a tire. I was really hoping the JK wheels would fit better on the MJ. Again, these all seem like sexual innuendos. I don't know who you're actually speaking to. I can only assume, and I think this is fair, your sex cult. Hey, you want to come over with the JK on the MJ? Huh? And then you give that little head tilt down and one eyebrow raised?
So you're... Maybe, I mean... Put it on the poll. Let people decide. Are JK and MJ...
Yeah, sex cult terms.
Jeep sex cult terms.
So let me ask you then. 2 days ago, wasn't very nice out. It was okay, but it's been on the downturn.
A little cold. I was doing some swapping some wheels around because the wheels on the one Jeep fit on the other Jeep. I like the wheels that are on the JK better. The silver Jeep, the Wrangler.
Okay, I'd appreciate it if you could use those terms
as a moron would refer to it. Wanted to see how they looked on the old MJ Comanche.
Okay.
Again, 88 Pioneer. 2-wheel drive, short bed, the coveted 4-liter 5-speed. I want to swap to an AX15 external slave, but they're difficult to find.
Literally paying bills right now.
I have, which may be a surprise to you, gotten a moderate amount of work done on the Comanche in the last month.
Really? So this has kind of been not in hiding. We don't need to talk about it. And actually, now that you mention it, thank you for not talking to me about it. But this comes as a touch of a surprise. But maybe it shouldn't, because we've talked about you've handed off the duties for the finishing touches of your main floor remodel in terms of the painting and the carpeting and the door. You got a doorsman. Trimsman. That's what we had.
Paintsman.
That's what I had to yell at Katie about last week. And again, we were sitting outside the two families, and I just had to scream at her in public about calling it a doorsman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it's a doorsman.
Idiot.
But you kind of farmed that out, and I don't like to use that term because it makes it kind of diminishes you and what you're doing with it. But you're not doing it yourself, which I've been begging you to do for a while.
Yeah, I
Are you? By the way, quick interjection. Are you happy with that decision still? Because
so happy.
You've been you waited a little longer than you probably would have liked for your carpet, but not a big deal.
Yeah, it's going to be installed in a week. We picked it out a month ago, and they're busy. So they had told us when we picked it out, they were like, "Look, we're 4 to 6 weeks out for install." We were like, "No problem.
You knew.
We got no rush." So we have 2 rooms that are just waiting on carpet.
Okay.
But yeah, thrilled with that decision. The bank account, not so much.
Right.
But
percentage wise. What do you think you could have saved?
Oh, God.
Like from what your total cost is going to be from what if you had done it with the same material.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know.
Okay.
Because I don't. That being said, friend of the show, Rusty, was the one who did the paint, and we are freaking thrilled with it.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, the man knows what he's doing when he can put down the bottle for a minute.
He does. He knows what he's doing. And I think that the amount that we paid him was like, this is so worth it. Because he was here for 5 or 6 days. And if he was here for 5 or 6 days, that means it would have taken me 3 to 4 weeks. It wouldn't have looked nearly as good.
Right. You're always going to have that run over, you slip with the brush, or you've been doing it for hours and you don't care. You're just trying to get done. Yep. So you've got some bleed over, whatever.
So worth it, though. But anyway, we digress.
digress.
Back to the Comanche. I've gotten a good amount of work done on it because a friend of mine, my buddy Ben, who has we're into a lot of the same. He's also a Jeepsman, a trucksman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he has a bit of a long-term project going on himself in his garage where he's got an old Ford truck that he's tinkering with on a daily basis. So both of us, we were talking one day and we were like, we need to like come up with plans to actually get these done. Because if I come up with a plan, I'm really good at following it. If I say, this day I have to do this and get it done, I generally do that. And because I'm somebody who likes checking things off of a list.
Got it.
I like going down a list and just saying, done, 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 done. So he said, all right, well, why don't we, this is maybe 2 months ago. He said, how about this? Every Friday after work or, like after dinner or whatever, either you swing out here and help me work on mine for a couple hours. I'll come over there, help you work on yours for a couple hours. And we switch back and forth each weekend. Great. That's awesome. So we did that for probably 5 or 6 weeks. He's had some family issues in the last couple of weeks, so we haven't been able to do that. But I'm assuming that next week we'll kind of get back into the routine. So the Comanche has 4 wheels on it. I know. Shocking.
That's a first in a while.
It has brakes, like functioning brakes.
Wow.
It got a tune-up. So in theory, if I put a new battery in it, it should start and run moderately well. It could be drivable.
Wow. So what is it all cosmetic then at this point?
I think what I realized is I can't do everything that I want to do all at once. So he convinced me, why don't we just get it up and running, get the brakes working, get the motor running strong, and get it drivable. And then we can chip away at all of the little stuff. Because it still looks ugly as hell.
Right.
It's still got rust in the
I don't know if that'll change
the floors.
when it's fully completed either. No, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Because you had spent the better part of a year on the rust.
Yeah. And there's still rust in it, but I got, admittedly, I got way burnt out on doing that.
Well, it's not a very rewarding job.
No, not at all.
It's not like putting a fresh coat of paint on something.
Nope.
It's a lot of labor for no visible reward to anybody but you for the most part.
It's a lot of work to get it to look how it's supposed to look in the first place.
And you wanted this thing to the point where you could drive it into the ocean, drive it back out, not a lick of rust.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, but I do have a plan. I mean, that is the plan in place. Once, like I said, once we get back into our weekly routine, I think it'll be a relatively short amount of time before I can actually start it up, drive it out of the garage, take it for a spin around the block.
Yeah.
But there's still, I got to get new carpet for it because the carpet that was in it was basically, it was wet.
Well,
and
you mentioned at the start of this podcast that, you had a few rolls down here.
I just got a couple scraps. So I'll throw the old guest room carpet in there.
You thought about really muddying the waters and just putting shag in there?
They do make like super deep pile carpet. And then like you can get the headliner fabric that looks like troll hair. Maybe I'll go with that. Shag carpet and troll hair.
Oh my God. So this is impressive. It took somebody else approaching you to get this thing moving because it was stagnant. Through the winter. It's totally a fair idea.
It's cold out there.
That it's cold. Like you don't want to go throw on winter gear to go slide underneath your half-built Jeep Comanche.
I don't have a fancy shop. I don't have my garage is not even insulated.
You don't have a lift, so it's not like you can just stand at eye level and work underneath if you need to.
So we're getting there.
So when you labeled this, your quote-unquote ironclad Comanche
Ironclad Comanche.
What is... I know a guy like you. You had a dry erase board out in the garage.
Still do.
with what the next steps are and how you need to proceed and the big ticket items.
Yeah.
Are you still scratching those off as you and Truck Jeepsman Ben work through these? Or have you taken a different approach now that you're going with let's get it functional first?
No, all that stuff still needs to be done.
Okay.
It's just there's different priorities first. Like the priority right now is all the mechanical. Getting everything running and driving good.
Sure.
Making sure that it's a remotely somewhat safe vehicle to drive around. Because I've driven that thing for 5 miles, and it was the day that I bought it. It has not...
And you started... I mean, to be fair, you knew going in it was, 1, drivable, but 2, your main goal was to fully deconstruct it.
Yeah.
So that's not like it's some surprise that now it's not drivable, in case
No.
anybody's wondering.
Nope.
This has been the plan all along. I don't remember any of the initial timelines or what your goal was. But you're thinking you could drive this around the block.
I thought that because we drove down to Illinois, picked it up, drove it about 5 miles to a gas station parking lot, loaded it on a trailer, and then towed it all the way home. And then rolled it off of the trailer in front of our house, drove it up into the garage. And it's only been out of the garage 1 time since then. And it wasn't driven out of the garage. It was rolled out. But back then in 2020 when I bought it in Labor Day weekend, my plan was I'm going to be driving this thing by Christmas. And that Christmas came and went. And then this past Christmas came and went. I'll be driving it this summer. That is 100% not an option. I need to drive it.
It won't be the 100% complete that you
like
want.
Hell. There's going to be smoke pouring out of it.
So the big ticket items in terms of, let's call it expenses.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need to brace for that, maybe
Big
you've been
ticket?
hesidant that because, hey, I'm not in a place right now with my second child on the way to spend whatever it may be.
Sure.
And a big ticket is different for everybody. Let's say $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is. I'm not in a spot to spend that right now. That'll be down the road.
Yeah. Big ticket, not really. Like I have to get carpet, which is probably $100, $150 bucks.
Minimal.
I need to have because it has a bench seat, as we've talked about. I want to get that bench seat.
Your dream.
Reupholstered.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to downgrade to the wooden bench as we talked about earlier.
I can buy some a new upholstery for it.
And do it yourself?
Do it myself, which I've done before, and it's not that hard. I actually enjoyed it. But there's only one company that makes it, and you can only get it in a couple different colors, and I don't really like it. So if anybody in the West Michigan area is an auto upholstery expert, if you do any of that, let me know. Hey, maybe we could work out some kind of a deal. This is the 3rd most popular podcast in my 5-block area.
Can you believe that? And I got to tell you, much like Steve's first day driving a fully clean car, we are nipping at the heels of old Jim and Bill 2 blocks over.
If I get upholstery out of this deal, that could surpass driving a somewhat clean car.
Let it be clear. The only thing I want in this transaction is to not have to talk to you about Jeeps.
You're going to go for a spin in it with me, though, right?
Sure.
Maybe do a Facebook Live or something.
Could this be our father-son moment where you teach me how to drive a stick?
You never driven a stick?
Never driven it.
Oh, okay.
I believe I may have tried, gave up really quick back then because I was, much more temperamental than I am now. And once it doesn't work the first time and I'm not, racing around the NASCAR track, I just decided I could never possibly do this if I'm not the best.
There are way too many things going on at the same time.
I understand
3 pedals?
I understand the principle of it, right?
Yeah.
Which is find and correct my terminology because, again, not a Jeepsman, not a manual shiftersman.
Sticksman.
Obviously, not a sticksman. You're looking for that friction point where you kind of, on the clutch, where you feel it's like a little grinding on your foot, right?
Well,
is that what it feels like?
Well, now you were doing a hand motion where you were pushing down.
Yeah.
But you actually feel the pull, the friction as you're letting up on the clutch. You feel the transmission and the engine kind of sync as one.
Oh, there's no way I can learn this.
I'm going to get this thing running.
I'm back on board with 17-year-old Kyle. I'm never driving one of these.
I'm going to drive it straight to your house and say, hop in. Because I don't know how good the clutch is on that thing. Again, only driven it 5 miles.
How'd those 5 miles feel? Do you remember them even?
It was down this person that I bought it from lived on a farm out way down a dirt road, and it wasn't great. It was the kind of vehicle like where you're driving it and you're going straight, but your arms on the steering wheel are still moving back and forth.
It's like when you're watching one of those older movies and they very clearly used a screen in the back to show the roads, and yet the person driving the car is bouncing back and forth with the steering wheel. I think I would have as much luck learning how to fly an airplane as learning how to drive a manual.
I think you'd pick it up slowly.
I also don't know that. When do you think driving a manual stopped being a life skill? 80s? 90s?
Yeah, probably 90s.
Because
I always wanted a manual. I enjoy driving manuals. I've driven a bunch of them.
I can see it with a sports car, right? Because it's that experience of you're in full control of how your Corvette or your whatever is operating. Mm-hmm. Probably much less so with the 88 Comanche.
Not quite the speed demon that the Corvette or the Camaro or the Mustang
because we're now approaching the automatic drivers in terms of cars and electronic vehicles. So you and your breed, who are still looking for the stick shift and the manual transmission, are a dying breed. Yeah. And they're obviously made, what would you guess, 10-to-1 automatic to manual in terms of manufacturing? Probably more?
I bet it's more than that.
I could let me shoot a text to my friend, Chris, UP Chris, who is in the automotive industry, and see what he thinks about
Why did I think he was like a professor?
Well, he was in the automotive industry. He worked for GM for a long time.
Okay.
And I'll see what he has to say, because those things, I think in 10 years, you'll see the first company announce, we're not going to produce them anymore. And that may have already happened, and I missed the news about it.
I don't even think that's going to be a thing, because so many, there are manufacturers who have said by 2035, we're not producing internal combustion engine vehicles anymore. They're getting out of the gas and the diesel engine industry and getting into electric. So I don't. Yeah, to say that they're not going to produce manual anymore, that's
right.
Kind of figured that anyway.
So are these going to become much like collecting became during the pandemic with sports cards, things like that? Is it going to be, look, a manual transmission? Go get the checkbook. We're going to pay 3 times market value because these are, it's a 4-leaf clover.
If somebody came up and offered me 3 times what I paid for the Comanche for it right now, see you later.
What's the bottom line? Because again, obviously I was wrong. The way you were talking, my interpretation was going to be that you had decided to move on from the Comanche project. No. That is not true. Comanche project lives, much to what I can only guess is the dismay of your family.
No,
I think it takes up garage space. You park in the late March snow in the driveway like a couple of heathens.
Yeah. Once I build that shop, though.
What's the...
It's going to be nice.
Percentage or number, not direct number, that you would need if someone approached you sight unseen and said, I want that Comanche.
For the 88 Jeep Comanche?
Is it 2 times? Is it 1.5? Is it 20% higher than what you paid? Oh, God.
If somebody offered me 2 times what I had into it, because I feel like I've seen a lot of Comanches for sale where I think, damn, I bought 6 months into the pandemic when the price of used cars was through the roof. It still is through the roof, but I've seen a lot more posts just recently where it's like, man, if I had spent $500 more, I could have gotten a completely rust-free one that looks beautiful. Yeah. And, I'd have to travel a little bit further to get it because we're in the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
But,
well, you're doing it on a budget too, right? Exactly. That's part of the
Comanche and on a budget.
You're doing this super cheap, and making sure that you really don't isolate your wife by upping the budget $500 more.
Somebody offers
off
me
off the get go.
You offer me 3 times what I paid for it.
It's a big number.
Well, what I paid for it is not what I have into it, because
you have parts, labor. Yeah. Even if you decided to not count your labor, but tools, parts,
all in.
The no rust, the limited rust that you've fixed.
The left side rust is pretty cleaned
Everybody
up.
says the left side rust is always worse than the right side rust.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
where you sit. That's where you sit.
And everybody knows where you sit is where it rusts first. Everybody knows that. I'm a vehiclesman. I can tell you that.
All right. Yeah,
Study
you are
the auto industry over here.
If you're interested in an 88 Jeep Comanche,
How big's that bed?
6-foot bed.
Short bed.
Short bed. Not a loser.
Turns out, if I had to guess, the JK tires would just look really stupid on there.
I was very disappointed. I was hoping that I'd be able to swap those wheels on, and they bolt up. They fit.
I couldn't care. I didn't.
They fit perfectly fine, but the offset way off.
Oh, listen. When I think
not even a bushwhacker cutout fender flare is going to cover those wheels. I'd have to go with like a MacLeod or a Hahnemann fiberglass.
That an inboard or an outboard?
That's a boat term, you dumb dick.
Well, excuse me. As I told you, just a vehiclesman. It's a broad term.
Have we really spent 40 minutes talking? Did we talk about anything else before
Let's
this?
see. Nope, we made fun of my wife for not saying doors man, for saying doors man.
Yeah.
No, this seems like it's it. And I'm actually, part of me is glad because we have a few things we need to get to. So part of me is glad we didn't get to this. So next week's A-Bit, locked up. Because you need to bring some audio. And I don't care about it's behind a paywall, Steve. I really don't care. I need to know.
Oh, that's right. We did discuss.
I need to know what happened.
Yeah.
And why on a random, this was March 22nd, so that was a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
There were shots taken at a 12-year former, which, by the way, big audience for talking about your 12-year prior intern.
Yeah.
This was the heart of it, though. 12 years ago this month.
This was the center of your universe for a little bit.
I need to know, so maybe we can get some audio next week of what happened. It must have been the second to last segment during the day.
I must,
9:30. I had a Twitter friend tag me and say their Wiener 2 is taking a beating right now. Now, granted, I don't know what you guys during the 9 a.m. hour. I know 6 a.m. is dick hour, 7 a.m. is fart hour, 8 a.m. is recap.
Yeah, recap dick hour. And then 9 a.m. is dick and fart hour.
Okay, so I don't know how I fit into dick fart hour.
We'll find out, though.
So
I have a vague recollection, but I don't. Okay. I don't remember what it was.
Listen, these mentions were not too kind to you about it.
Huh?
Saying that you didn't say anything, but that was the problem. There was no defense.
Boy, I wonder,
of your podcast partner for the better part of 5 years.
I wonder if this was something that happened because a lot of times I'll be
maybe out of the room.
No, I'll be editing something, so I'll have my headphones switched over and not listening to the air feed.
I mean, it would make sense that if they were to randomly mention me about whatever reason, they would not go or look to you, who talks to me once a week.
Let's see. Yeah, it's. I mean,
listen, this is fine, and I'm not innocent.
I'm not saying
this.
that I would always defend you.
No.
Let me be very clear.
If there's a legitimate gripe to...
Let me be very clear.
Yeah.
If they brought up a good point,
I
would pile on like crazy.
Balding,
bad
foot, floppy foot,
virgin,
bummer of a ticker.
Yeah. Terrible ticker. Terrible.
If it's one of those, jump on board. So we'll maybe we can get some of that for next week, or we can get a full recap of what went down and why. Because listen, they've been mentioned on this podcast before. Mm-hmm. They know where we are. Where we are. The Monkey Slinging Feces show over there. You can hear on anywhere between, I don't know what you're at, 20 to 50 stations now,
somewhere in there.
And not been too kind. So I'm not a guy who's going to get offended.
Sure.
And but just
if
as
there's
equally,
one thing that I would say about Kyle, is that he just lets things roll off his back.
Yeah. So that's the second thing you know about me today. First thing, refuse to be the center of attention. Hate it.
Absolutely hate it.
Second, I let so much roll off my back. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They call me a rolling water log because how much rolls off it.
Rolling water log.
Is that what you call the log in the water, right? That you run on?
Yes.
The rolling water log?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a good teammate right there. You know what? Your cohorts over there on the Monkey Show could learn a thing or two from that. Appreciate the yes-anding. We do have a couple things we have to get to, though, before we get out of here. We need to update, and whatever you want to do first here, Steve. We need to update Poll Badness 2022 as we move down from the senseless 16 to the excessive 8. And we have to get to Steve's 1-minute Marvel movie reviews for Avengers Age of Ultron.
Let's start off with the Poll Badness update.
Beautiful.
With this intro that is twice as long as it needs to be.
Should we edit it and speed it up like 80% this part?
No, absolutely not.
Well, we can't disrespect the artist. We can't disrespect the artist.
How about we just do it? Let's see what this would sound like.
This wouldn't be the first time we've suggested we're smarter than the actual artist.
Yeah. So
I can tell you right now, for sure, no holds barred. I'm smarter than Shike on music. That idiot. Twisting knobs. Shike's banging trash cans, calling it music down there like he's Stomp.
All right, so right now it is currently 3 minutes and 4 seconds. So I said it was twice as long as it needed to be. So we'll take that down to about a minute.
Minute and a
half.
half.
Would that be a minute 32?
Yep.
And we'll see how that sounds now.
So again, Steve, we're here. It's time to recap.
It's time to. It's going to take a little bit. It's
okay.
An old computer, and it's the processing power.
I'm at 13.
I'm at 13%.
We may have an update. We received a message from our friend Trevor in Dixon/Burn/Nashville, less Nashville than the other two, who is, I believe, he may be a plaquesman.
A plaquesman? He can make us a plaque?
I believe he is going to look into getting us a plaque for last year's Poll Badness, which makes a lot of sense. We really want that 2021 Poll Badness winner to display in here right as we wrap up Poll Badness 2022.
Maybe we should get one of those ones that you can add on to, like that you see at the American Legion or something, where it says like, the president from the chapter president, 87 to 88.
Like the Stanley Cup, they continue to add names. Yet with ours, it's not 2 lines, Bill Smith. It's 4 lines talking about apostles chiseling boobs into rocks.
I'll tell you what, Trevor. You get that? What's Trevor's last name? Adams, right?
Yeah.
It'll be
I thought it was in Nashville.
It'll be the Adams Cup. It's our own Stanley Cup.
The Adams Cup, and Trevor would be happy to pay.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I don't know why we didn't think of this last year, to get a trophy to update the poll, or a plaque to update the Poll Badness winners as years go on. Are we ready now? Can we finally update?
We are ready.
As we move again from the senseless 16 to the excessive 8.
I kind of like it.
It's almost better.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Let's see what the lyrics sound like.
Sounds like a mighty theme from.
If you want to be the best, you got to be a fighter. If you want to be the best,
I love it.
Yeah, this is the new theme. Also, maybe this will get us around the YouTube copyright infringement.
The algorithm, catching us.
Oh, I don't know if we've ever gotten that far with that many words.
Yeah, normally that's 50 seconds in.
Steve, it is time to update the Poll Badness 2022 bracket as we are on time this year, almost ahead of schedule. Moving now from the senseless 16 to the excessive 8. We're going to start this week off in the patently absurd division. We had the number 1 seed were Biblical Time Gifts, sticks with faces carved in them, and pairs. Taking on the number 4 seed, do you have to wait for 10 years of friendship to break the soup wall? Nice, comfortable victory here for Biblical Time Gifts. 61.3% of the vote. That moves on into the excessive 8. They're going to take on the winner of the number 2 seed. Would Second Chance Jeeps be more interesting if it were helping Jeeps through alcohol and narcotic addiction? Which battled the number 3 seed. Do you have to knock 3 times to get the Wirer?
Yeah.
And again, nobody's reached out, thank goodness. I don't want any details. I don't want to know what that's about. I prefer no context on the Wirer. And in the runaway of the week, in the runaway of the senseless 16, with 75% of the vote. Would second chance Jeeps be more interesting if it were helping Jeeps through alcohol and narcotic addiction advances? We may have a real juggernaut on our hands as they have comfortably won both their first and second round matchups there, setting up in the excess of 8, the number 1 versus the number 2 seed on the left side of the bracket. As always, I have posted the bracket updated now on all our social media accounts at Steve and Kyle. I will post one of those again next week with the updated excess of 8 as we move down into the...
Stay tuned.
The last of them. We'll come back. Moving down to the What the division. Where the number 1 seed is Jimmy the Bangladeshi bullet shooter, only at the Olympics, to plow people like Veronica the New Zealand pole vaulter. I really don't know if we'll ever have a pole as good as that.
I don't think so. No.
I mean, this was my favorite heading into the tournament. Done nothing to dissuade me as it battles number 5, Obituaries. Enough already? And it wins handily with 64.3% of the vote, moving on into the excess of 8. They're going to take on the winner of the number 2 seed is 94.3 K-Rock, where the Rock rocks the Rock Station's Rock Station, which, total side note, I demand we create merch for that.
Yeah, if somebody could come up with a logo for that.
Maybe if you could do us a favor at some point this week, Steve, and get out all of your crappy radio station merch you've amassed over the years, and maybe lay them out on your bed or on the floor, and try to get a picture of all of the logos or whatever together, so we can then narrow down how crappy we want this to look.
So it's 94.3 K-Rock,
where the Rock
rocks,
and then below, like the tagline below all that,
the Rock Station's Rock Station.
The Rock Station's Rock Station. And then,
so that's the Rock Station that other rock stations go to rock?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If the rock station's tired of acting like a rock station, they go to 94.3 K-Rock so they can actually rock at the rock station. That battle, the number 3 seed is Annette's Etsy shop, just her slamming airplane-sized booze bottles to get away from Steve. Minor upset here. The number 3 seed, Annette in the Etsy shop, slamming airplane-sized booze bottles, is going to advance with 58.6% of the vote to take on the number 1 seed there, Jimmy the Bangladeshi bullet shooter. Quite a cast of characters we've got in this podcast, huh? Moving over to the other side of the bracket, the asinine division, we had the number 1 seed. Are you more of a fart guy or a dick guy? Taking on, does it get any whiter than Papa Benjamin's? Papa Benjamin's, I thought, had a real chance here based on the favor it seemed to curry online when it came up.
Yeah.
But with 53.6% of the vote.
Boy, we have an upset?
The number 1 seed.
Oh, the number 1 seed.
Are you more of a fart guy or a dick guy is going to advance into the excessive 8.
Okay.
They're going to take on the winner. The number 2 seed, would you tune into the Fruit, Boot, and Shoot at the Olympics, which battled the number 3 seed? Do Flat Earth and Salsa go hand in hand? Again, that's just like the Wire. I don't want any... This has to have been when we were talking about Mad Mike, who turned into a pancake with his little man-made push rocket.
No, that was like 2 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, and I feel
Maybe this was when we were talking about that guy who really wants to come on our podcast to talk Flat Earth.
Yeah, stop messaging us, by the way.
He's also sending out fake PR emails on behalf of himself, but it's obviously him, but he's claiming it's like the publicist for this weirdo to our email, but then he's titling them like RE colon to make it look like he's replying to something.
Right.
Just stop, man. Yeah. You're not welcome here. We've decided in light of the last few years, what's been going on, to welcome anti-science people and give them even a minuscule platform like ours is not a wise decision.
It's been proven that the Earth is not flat, hundreds of years ago?
Yeah.
So get on board.
Yeah, and if we want to talk to dumb, talentless hacks, we'll just call Shike. Love you, Dan. I can't believe you just said that in my ear, Steve. I told you to stop doing that.
Feeding you the
we obviously have the tech that you and I have side communication.
Right, yeah. Especially even while I'm saying one thing into a microphone.
Wait, what was that you just said in my ear? Oh, sorry, you were talking on the podcast there? See, it gets confusing.
Yeah,
so Dan, I apologize for Steve. That was just out of turn. Cannot believe he said that. And with 72.4% of the vote, another bit of a runaway here. Would you tune into the Fruit, Boot, and Shoot at the Olympics is going to advance into the excess of 8.
Nice.
Another number 1 versus number 2 seed. The last division here, are they serious? We have the number 1 seed. Does the wind have to be just right to hear the cries of the spirits of the drywall? One of the many times we've recapped the family drama here as Steve screamed at his not yet bride as they were carrying drywall down the steps in their former home. And that shouldn't sit here and make me laugh. But we talked about it, and
the drywall fight, the crock pot fight, and the vacuum fight. I mean, those are 1, 2, 3.
Took on the number 5 seed. Did Steve not eating June Thanksgiving dinner ruin June Thanksgiving dinner for everyone else? We finally have an upset.
Oh.
In an absolute nail biter. 51.7% of the vote. Did Steve not eating June Thanksgiving dinner ruin June Thanksgiving dinner for everyone else? Is going to advance into the excessive 8.
That. Wait, remind me, say that again. What was the seeding matchup there?
That was a 5 versus a 1.
Oh, boy.
So this number 5 seed won its first round matchup with 74% of the vote. And it
then just
sneaks
got
past a
smoked.
number 1 seed with 51.7% of the vote. The real Cinderella of the 2022 poll of badness is going to advance into the excessive 8 to take on the winner of the 2 versus 3 matchup. Are the middle anchors worthless in a pallbearer situation? Which battled is a guy walking into a funeral in jeans, the guy walking into a wedding in shorts.
Oh, boy.
And with 63% of the vote, are the middle anchors worthless in a pallbearer situation? Is going to move on to the excessive 8. So it is set. The excessive 8 is now set with a number 2 versus a number 5 seed, a number 1 versus a number 2 seed, a number 1 versus a number 3 seed, and a number 1 versus a number 2 seed.
Yeah.
A lot of chalk is what we call it in the sports biz. Moving on, the
chalk
one
indeed.
Cinderella, though.
Yeah.
The June Thanksgiving really resonating with people. That was back again on your 40-day fast, which that was knocked out in the round in the throaty too.
Yeah.
As your 40-day diet sponsored by Jesus. You decided to have a June Thanksgiving dinner, which you then ruined by refusing to eat any of the June Thanksgiving dinner that your family and friends were so kind to make.
Yeah. Now, again, you can go to @Stephen Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and
Yes.
vote on all of these. If you're listening to this as the podcast came out on Tuesday morning, they may not be up yet, but they will be up probably within, at some point today.
That's right.
Air quotes. But yeah, you can always go back @Stephen Kyle again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Before we get to my Marvel movie review, we have one thing to get to first.
Hey folks, viewer mail time again. Oh, here's one from Sally, age 14. Dear Pig.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
That's right. Steve, it's time.
It is time.
Now,
I'm anxious to see what is in here.
I looked at the calendar. It is not Money Day.
It's not Money Day. No, it was Money Day last week or the week before.
So I can only assume this is a different Money Day.
Yeah, it's probably just a stack of cash.
Yeah.
Who's this from?
Now, it says it's from an LLC in Kalamazoo. There might be a note in here.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll open it to the P.O. Box. Again, if you want to send us anything, the address for the P.O. Box that Steve pays for to the good people at the end of the Driveway Warriors is listed in the notes of this podcast. Or if you
Can I get a third-party, P.O. box or something?
Yeah, I'm sure DHL just has cardboard boxes they put on corners of random roads and call it a P.O. box, right?
Right. All right, what do we got in there from this random LLC in Kalamazoo, Michigan? What is the LLC? Who's it?
It is Rose Soma LLC.
Oh, okay.
Kalamazoo, Michigan, the southwest side. Huh. It's not Money, Steve. Okay. Money Day 2 is canceled until further notice. A couple of stickers, Steve.
Uh-huh. What do we got?
Never mind. It's it's not from our friend at Rose Soma LLC. This looks like it was ordered directly off an Etsy shop. So thank you to, again, whoever refused to acknowledge that they sent us something.
Yeah, people always do that.
Tell us. Just send us a message.
Tell us when you send us something.
I mean, unless you really want to remain anonymous, which, okay, that's fine too, I suppose. Mm-hmm. This is, look at this, Steve. Very timely from recent discussions. Take a look at this thing, huh?
Oh, that is very nice.
Two bros chilling in a hot tub. That'll look beautiful on the sticker wall. Thank you very much to whoever sent this. I because again, this is kind of one that when we look back on it in 2 years or whenever, we're going to say, what? And it's going to be, we're going to say what to that one. We're going to say what to the weird toothy man next to it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The never to Trogdor the Burninator, because
I'll ask you every time what that is.
Hope Solo.
Oh my god! And a perfect picture of Hope Solo too, because it's her backside.
Exactly.
As we all know.
And we don't mean that in a weird sexual way.
Yeah,
either.
no. It's literally an image of her standing in her soccer uniform from behind, but really reminiscent of the way she was discussed on this podcast as the serial butthole picture taker.
Yes.
Again, if you want to send us anything, whether it be stickers for the sticker wall, cash money so we can have a second money day, that'll be welcome.
We did just have a random pile of money in here.
Yes, we did. The P.O. box and the address is in the description of this show. Find it there, or you can, if you're too lazy, send us a message. And we will DM that back to you along with an insult for being too lazy to look in the show notes.
By the way, apologies to Robert. I believe that we have recently lost him.
Happens way too often. Well, he's not going to have time. He's not going to be able to hear your review, Steve, of 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. I was lucky. This week I made time. I was able to catch up with you.
Yeah, I know that you were about a week behind or so.
I was able to watch Captain America 2.
Captain America the Winter Soldier.
I apologize as a Marvelsman. I shouldn't have offended you like that. And I was also able to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, which, bone to pick.
I feel like I ruffled some feathers.
Yeah. Of the 10 reviews you've thus far done for Marvel movies, nothing has caught the ire of friends of this show like your review of Guardians of the Galaxy. You ruffled a very wise man. Dan Scheich was upset with you.
A wise man?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, listen, outside of what you just said about him a few minutes ago in my ear, a smart man.
Apologies to Dan.
You very offended. Fellow nerd, person you've hired to do work in your home who I don't think will ever set foot in here before he gets an apology. Rusty.
I like Rusty, too.
We had it out.
Yeah.
Because as I rewatched these movies this week,
there was a bit of a back and forth.
I texted you my disgust with you over your lack of enjoyment of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is, to say it's a fan favorite is an understatement. This thing is a favorite in the top 5, I would estimate, of all Marvel movies.
Okay. And
you dismissed it with, let me get the last part of your review last week was, seriously, people liked this?
And I feel bad for that one because I know that what I said was, seriously, people actually like this, so it seems a bit harsh. I didn't hate it. It wasn't the original Incredible Hulk.
Right, which was, as you reviewed it, dismal garbage.
Dismal garbage.
But you did not like it.
And even that, I look back on and I'm like, it wasn't that bad. I still like the actual character of the Hulk. I just did, and I don't know, it wasn't a great movie.
At the end of this watch through, I'm going to ask you, because that's what we do on sports radio, is the biz. I'm going to need you to rank them. Your top 5, your bottom 5.
I don't know why you'd need me to do that when all you have to do is sort that spreadsheet that we're keeping track by review, and it'll very easily sort them out. Just
to get the top 2 tiered right now, how would I rank the one thumb and 9:30 on a clock compared to, I think that all the hate it gets is undeserved? Which is a better review?
If you have to ask me that,
that's a good point.
You're a moron.
That's good. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Steve, your review.
Yes.
As we approach the end of Phase 2 here, your review of 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron.
All right. This was a big one. I sat down last night.
Can you stop?
Can
you stop?
Why?
There needs to be a sense of urgency.
Yeah, I know. I haven't gotten into it yet.
I thought I'd have Flight of the Bumblebee by now, and I'd feel like that tension in my bones.
I got it queued up right over
because we're on a time. So if you're, is this a preamble?
Yeah, it's a bit of a preamble.
Then my apologies. I did not mean to interrupt your preamble. Steve, your review of 2015's
I'll skip the preamble.
Avengers. I want the preamble now.
No.
Is the Constitution what it is without the preamble?
You don't get the preamble.
I can only apologize. I stepped all over your preamble. Doesn't happen. The best speeches in the world's history have a preamble. And so I stepped all over yours, and I'm sorry for that.
Well, the gang's all back together. They're going after Hydra's base. Wait, I thought Iron Man quit being Iron Man at the end of Iron Man 3. Guess not. Guess he's back. There's a fast guy and a mind reader lady who does woo. They got the blue thing. That is good. The Avengers have their own building now. Looks pretty nice. Tony wants to use the blue thing's AI to build Ultron. Whatever that means. Well, it works, and oh crap, like 2 seconds in, Ultron takes out Jarvis. Okay. No one can pick up Thor's hammer, but we've known this for many, many movies. Ultron attacks, and then he escapes into the internet. Then he pairs up with the twins to take out the Avengers. The mind reader lady puts weird dreams in everyone's brains. Woo! Pretty good fight scene between Iron Man and the Hulk. That was really good. Turns out Hawkeye has a nice farmhouse upstate, and Nick Fury comes to visit. Pretty cool. Natasha, she is sterile. Whoa.
Oh, that buzzer couldn't have come at a worse time. Part of me wants to tell you that should just be the end. Like, we should wrap the review up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But we digress.
Again, Natasha was sterile. Whoa.
Ultron Jedi mind tricked the scientist, and now she's building Ultron people hybrids. Jarvis is back, and now he's going to be put into the hybrids with the help of Dr. Banner and Tony. And Vision is born. He sounds like Jarvis, but he has a ruby on his forehead. Okay. He's here to help beat Ultron. Oh, damn. He picked up Thor's hammer. Mind blown. Hulk and Natasha finally smooch. The city starts flying. Hawkeye gives the mind reader an emotional pep talk, and he gets her on board. Now everybody is fighting against the robots. The fast guy gets killed in a battle when he's saving Hawkeye. He has finally come to the good side. Too bad he's dead now. The Avengers defeat the robots and keep the flying city from smashing back into Earth. There's a new training facility in upstate New York where they're going to train more Avengers, and that was 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you never cease to amaze me.
I know, pretty good, right?
It feels like we're 11 movies in.
Yeah, that's about right.
And somehow you're getting less and less personalized as we recap.
I don't know. I think that I think I might know more than you think.
Okay.
Because these notes are taken real time.
While
it's happening. Okay. So a lot of times if a new character shows up, I don't know their name yet.
Yeah.
Because they don't show up and say, hello, my name is Ultron.
Right. No, that's fair.
Hi, I'm the Incredible Hulk. Granted, he's a little bit easier to figure out.
In this one, I believe Ultron may have actually introduced him as like, I'm Ultron himself. As I'm Ultron.
Yeah.
The blue thing?
The scepter?
Hey! Oh my gosh.
Look at that, right?
They created Vision, which is again a human robot or AI hybrid.
Yeah.
You referred to him being powered by the Ruby.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Okay. Because I figured that one out. Mind Stone.
Hey!
Right? That's one of that's the fourth of the
It starts with an I.
Infinity Stones.
Oh my gosh.
Because there's 6 Infinity Stones, right?
You're getting this.
I know. I know.
You're like a step away from
it's pretty amazing.
Pulling glasses up on your nose and talking comic books at dinner with your wife.
Talking a little snooty. I mean, some would call it that.
A lot to unpack with Avengers 2 here in the Age of Ultron.
Yeah, don't call it Avengers 2.
You did refer to the Mind Reader and the Speedster.
No, that is Wanda is the female who does the woo.
Yep,
she does
just like that with the hand symbol.
And then the red lightning comes out of her fingers into people's heads.
That's the Scarlet Witch or Wanda. Yeah.
Oh, she's Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Okay. And then there was her brother, her twin brother.
Come on.
I don't want to sound like a fool because I think it's Peter, but I think it's actually Pietro.
I think we crossed that bridge, by the way.
Did we?
Not sounding like a fool.
Oh,
I think we're there. Pietro.
Okay, it is Pietro.
You got it.
For some reason, I was thinking, no, I'm going to sound like a even bigger fool than I already am.
Maximoff twins.
Yes.
Their introduction again at the end of 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy.
So they were like Hydra creations.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked. In the cinematic universe, they were Hydra created.
Yeah.
And which is a divergence from the comic books, where they are the children of, as you know, Magneto.
I don't know who that is.
The X-Men.
That's all part of this too? That's a bigger surprise than when you told me Spider-Man was going to appear.
Well, if you want to have a real nuts and bolts rights conversation.
It's one of them again.
Yeah, the X-Men have not been owned by Marvel Studios.
So, to be clear, the movies from the early 2000s, like the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, that in no way overlaps with any of these movies, or does it?
Well, we're only in 2015, so I can safely tell you no.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Oh!
Well, I'll just say there was some handshake deals made in years from 2015 till now.
So those movies
are all not Marvel coordinated whatsoever when they were made.
So nothing that happened in them is ever referenced in anything that I might be seeing?
I'm not going to give that
away,
Steve.
All right.
Things change. Legal rights change, which is very fun for movie watchers as they get to talk about legal rights and intellectual property.
All right. But I think, I feel like I've...
You're kind of honing in on it. I mean,
I'm figuring it out.
Okay.
There are definitely some people that I don't know. Those post-credit scenes where somebody just pops up. In most cases, I don't know them. But
the purple guy,
he's been
a real recurring theme.
He's showed up a few times.
You know his name? The big purple face, wearing a helmet, got the grooved chin. Acted by one of the Brolins, not the one who said Happy 9/11.
Tower?
Thanos? Hey!
That's right.
Yeah, you knew
so
that.
He is obviously a bad guy.
Mad King.
Thanos,
Yeah, not good.
Thanos the Mad King.
So this entire saga, Steve, I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Is all leading up. This is all the Infinity Saga.
Okay.
As you mentioned, the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
He is. He's looking to get those. So at the post-credit scene here, you see him put on the fancy glove.
So is that why now the guy Vision?
Yeah.
He is AI created by Tony and Bruce Banner, but then kind of like hijacked by Ultron.
Yep.
He's a good guy?
Yeah, well, they didn't
kind
know.
Of.
Because the last one they made ended up being Ultron, and that one didn't quite pan out.
It didn't work out
so
well.
That's why you see the event. I mean, you kind of ignored it in your review, but again, you only have 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. They have a little fight.
Yeah.
In Tony's tower or whatever.
Yes.
Because they don't think that they should create
more AI
Vision. Yeah, because they look how this one panned out.
So
He's
basically
now trying to take a city and lift it in the sky and drop it in the planet and kill everybody.
So Vision is basically like Jarvis's being, consciousness, whatever, implanted into a humanoid.
All voiced and acted by the talented Paul Bettany.
Yes. Okay.
Steve, your review then.
All right.
Of 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. Got the fingers ready? Some of these can be wordy. We've really advanced from dismal garbage to 2 weeks ago, which is blew the spreadsheet out of the water with when you didn't have a review ready.
All right. I was not bored at all.
Hey!
And I really liked it. 1 thumb up. 1 thumb near 11 o'clock.
Whoa!
Yeah.
How about that?
No space.
You have really taken to a minor heel role in really enjoying the middle of the road Marvel movies. And again, hating Guardians of the Galaxy.
Not hate. This movie I liked because it looked different.
Okay.
The effects looked different to me than in the past.
Yeah.
But they were like that opening scene I really liked.
Yeah.
Where they're like running through, where they're zeroing in on Hydra's base.
Sure.
And you see, like, it just keeps cutting back and forth between like the Hulk and Captain America and Thor. I just liked the effects of that. I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed it quite a lot.
One of my favorite scenes in the entire Marvel universe is in this movie, and you reference it in your review. As Hawkeye gives the Mind Reader a pep talk.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the absurdity of, one, what's going on. to him being a part of it.
He's like, I have a bow and arrow.
Yeah. None of this makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is really a tipping point for me in making Hawkeye one of my favorite characters.
Hawkeye's cool. I like Hawkeye a lot.
The human side of what's going on.
This was a Hawkeye heavy movie.
Yeah. You've seen, Tony flirt with Pepper, but Pepper wasn't even in this movie.
Yeah.
She's, doing whatever in Europe. But you really get to see Hawkeye hiding a family life as he brings everybody back to his safe house.
Yeah, he's got a nice farmhouse. Very nice farmhouse.
He lives a normal life outside of, oh, hey, we've got Super Robot taking over the planet and wants to drop a city on the world and create a
I'm trying to remember what his association... So did he... because you see flashbacks, Natasha especially, you see her flashbacks to, when she was in training and everything. So was Hawkeye a part of that? Have they known each other that long?
Well, so if you remember, if I recall correctly, it was Thor. It was Thor, where you saw Hawkeye and he was working for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
He was watching Thor try to take his hammer back. So my assumption is, as you also saw Natasha work for Nick Fury, acting as Tony's assistant, Iron Man.
Yep.
That they both work for S.H.I.E.L.D., so they both known each other for a long time. So they've been friends and cordial because she knew the family.
Yeah, because you find out, exactly. Because she's asking about Hawkeye's, the baby.
Yes.
Yeah. And
really nice touch to show the other side of superhero life. As you don't see that with Thor. You barely see it with Iron Man because he lives like a billionaire. You're able to see Hawkeye, a normal person, not even a superhero because he's just good with a bow and arrow,
right?
Living his life outside of these superhero adventures, and how he reacts to all of this. Fantastic touch. I like this movie.
Mind blown that, by the way, Natasha and the Hulk,
that was weird.
They're an item now?
Shoehorned.
I mean,
super shoehorned.
What happened? Because you thought that there was some little flicker of romance.
There definitely was
between her and Cap.
Yeah, and you're
Cap.
hindered by
Cap. You see Cap.
That's what we call him, Marvel's man. You're hindered by your 60-second movie reviews, as you're adhering to pretty strictly.
Some stuff I gotta trim out.
But they really, there's a romantic angle where they talk about running away from even this adventure and not helping. Said, we've done our part, let's get out of here together.
And then she pushes him and says but I need the other guy.
Very shoehorned, this romance. It was not a very well regarded storyline because of the way, initially obviously Tony's interested because Tony's a horn dog, and then you see him and her and Captain America, but Captain America can't get over, Agent Carter.
Get over it. She's
90.
You missed your chance by 75 years.
Yeah, it is what it is. You missed the dance. Sorry, bummer.
I did that, but they got their dance in this.
I mean, if you want to call him talking to her in a hospital bed a dance.
Well, no. I mean, in this movie. In his dream.
Right. And
he got the dance.
Is a dream dance a dance? It's fine.
I don't know. Put that on the poll. Is a dream dance a dance?
But they really wanted to get Hulk into space. You'll see why in 4 movies. Or 4 or 5 movies. So
very nice.
That's just the way this works, long-term planning.
But man, I enjoyed this one from start to finish.
That's great.
I had a good time with it.
I liked it a lot more than I remembered.
And I looked it up. It was had a 70-something on Rotten Tomatoes. I saw reviews forgettable.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a bummer. But
in the Pantheon, I think people wanted to get to Thanos and that saga because they knew that was coming and it wasn't right there. But if you get to Thanos right there, people complain, well, you didn't build up to him enough. Yeah. So there's never making everybody happy. So.
I did have a kind of I know who that character is now.
You did?
Yeah, because the TV show that came out last year, WandaVision.
Yes.
I now know who those characters are. I'm assuming. So Wanda is played by Elizabeth Olsen.
Yes.
Very talented. Sister to the Olsen twins.
Yeah.
And then the Vision part of that would be Vision. That I was like, oh, okay, I see. Because I never had any idea what that show was about.
Yeah.
I had never heard of Wanda or Vision.
And that is all TBD for Steve's Marvel movie reviews. If we are going to include those towards the end of, but we have weeks and weeks and months to determine that. We'll get to that later on.
Are you somewhat happy with how I did this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
are you excited that I was
You're retaining
into this
a little,
one.
You're retaining a little bit.
I know some names.
I'm not surprised you liked it because these movies are hard to not at least have a sense of fun with.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you're not into the comic books and the characters, they're still packed with sequences that you're like, ooh, shiny thing there, flying guy there, robot here.
Yeah.
They make them easy to enjoy and to be able to watch wistfully at least.
And hey, no Loki, I am happy. No space. Hawkeye heavy? I couldn't believe that.
So what you're saying is the show Loki is going to be on your questionable list? Boy, that's a weird show too. So good.
Spacey?
So good.
Like really spacey? Rainbow Road?
There's a little bit. Hey, those polls, Poll Badness 2022 advances. You'll find all of those. If they're not up right now when you're listening to this, they'll be up very shortly, and they're released at certain intervals so we don't blow Facebook's algorithm out of the water. Find those at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, also the movie reviews. We do videos of them each week.
Yes.
They're up on usually social media, depending on the length of them. Like, we can't post them everywhere, but up at least on our YouTube channel. If you just search for the Steve and Kyle podcast on YouTube, you'll see a playlist with all of them posted there.
Yeah.
Again, at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to vote on any of the polls in Poll Badness and listen to all the episodes and blah, blah, blah. Other than that, I think we're good, right?
That's it. You got a hard out. You got to go.
I got to get out of here.
You got a paid gig.
Talk to you next week.